I'm so nervous.
It's not like we've ever put ourselves on the internet before. Ever, ever, ever. Link to our other channel in the box below. Alrighty. Well, you want to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Rachel's husband, Chauncey.
Yes, he's mine. So, we are going to do the boyfriend/husband tag. Or just for the hell of it. Because it's fun.
Right.
In no way are we influenced whatsoever because Shay and Colette did it.
Yes, we are.
We just do everything that they do.
Except for having 4 kids.
Yeah. So I guess we'll just start with question number 1.
Okay.
Alright. Where did we meet?
We met.
We actually met before we met.
Yeah, I mean,
what do you think about it?
as far as like about us both like knowing each other and like meeting each other, it would have been in a sound engineering class at school downtown Indianapolis.
Yeah.
Because that's where we actually had class together and we actually kind of talked together and stuff. And then I, worked up to enough courage to ask her out in that class at the end of the class last night. Not last night, but the last night of that class.
Yeah.
And but before that, we had
another class.
We had another class together. It was a programming class that she had no idea I existed. And I was just like, I had a crush on her, and I remember one day just sitting out in the hallway waiting for the door to open for class because we were there early, and she was just sitting there reading a book, and I'm just sitting there looking at her, just staring at her. She had
Not
no
creepy at all whatsoever.
She had no idea I even existed.
It's a good thing too, because I think if I'd known you were that guy, if I'd known that you were like stalking me for an entire semester before that, I don't think I would have said yes if you'd asked me.
I wasn't stalking you. I just would, turn around and look at you every once in a while. And actually, there was, even fast forward a year later, we were in that recording class, the sound engineering class, and I had kind of unfurled the crush on her because we had a summer in between those 2 classes, and I saw her leaving the building one day, and I was walking in. It was just us 2 entering and exiting. She had no idea who I was at the building, and I'm like, "Hi, Rachel," just because I knew her name from class, from the attendance sheet. And she didn't even respond. She just kept walking. Like, who's that creeper?
Yeah. Like,
actually, I don't think she even heard me. I think I didn't say it loud enough.
So, number 2. What was our first date?
The first date, officially, well, yeah, we have the unofficial and official things. It's like we didn't plan a date, but we were actually we went out to pizza first, though.
Oh, yeah, that was the same night you asked me out.
So I asked her out, and then the teacher actually bought pizza for us, and we all went out, and then her and I just sat and talked for a little while, and then not really connecting right away because, all these other classmates are around us that have known us all semester, and we were kind of embarrassed to, try to get to know each other yet.
Yeah.
So,
especially with the teacher there, that would have really
I left, and I left from the pizza place and went to see Iron Man, which was awesome. That was the first time I saw it with my friends, and I remember getting home and getting on Facebook right away, contacting her, friending her, all that, and then we just formed a Facebook relationship for a while as the next couple weeks went by. Then we went to, or week, I guess.
Yeah.
And then we went to
miniature golf.
Miniature golf at is it No.
Great Times.
Great Times. Yes. It's like a family fun place they have up here. They have go-karts and bowling and all kinds of cool stuff. We did miniature golf, and while we were playing miniature golf, we were with her friend and her boyfriend at the time, and I kind of slipped when we were playing miniature golf.
You let me get cut.
I let her cut ahead, and
I got a hole-in-one or something, and Amber's like, "That's not fair. What'd you let her do that for?"
And I was like, "'Cause I love her." And then she heard that, and she was like, "Oh."
I was
I can't believe you used the L word.
Which,
it's true.
yeah.
I've been forming this love for a year. Where have you been?
Well, that kind of leads us into the third question. What would, I guess that this question would be for both of us, first impression of each other.
Well, when I was first like starting to like you in the programming class, my impression was that you were like this like really intelligent, kind of geeky girl, and that's exactly what I was looking for.
I had no idea who you were. My first impression, like, we were in this class, we were in the sound class, and it was the last day, and we were turning in our final assignments, and then, the teacher's like, okay, class is over, good, congratulations everyone for completing the class. It's like, oh, by the way, I'm, gonna buy pizza if anybody wants to come, and, this guy comes up to me, and he's like, hey, I'd like to get to know you better. Like, do you think maybe you want to go out to a movie or something this summer?
That pickup line is not flashy, but it works really well.
And I was like, okay. And I had no idea who he was. And then we went out to pizza, and like he was talking to some of the other guys in the class that he knew, and I was just kind of eating my pizza and breadsticks, and I wasn't even sure what your name was till one of the other guys said it. He's like, I'll see you later, Chauncey. And I'm like, oh, okay, Chauncey, that's his name. Okay.
What a weird name.
So, but yeah, then, he left the pizza place, and I went home, and hours later got a message on Facebook. He's like, Iron Man was awesome.
It really
I'm
was.
like, okay. And then we started talking and stuff, and I was like, okay, well, he doesn't seem that creepy, so let me give this a shot. Not creepy, that was my first impression.
You gotta watch out for that these days.
Yeah. Let's see, next one. Where was our first kiss, and how was it?
I was leaving so we had like maybe 2 or 3 dates, probably 3 dates, and we had gone to see Indiana Jones and the Crystal Skull, which I had actually planned on being our first date, but the movie didn't come out until
early enough.
Yeah, several weeks later. So I was leaving to go to North Carolina for like a family friend vacation. It was like my family with like 4 other families that we usually vacation with, and we were all going out to North Carolina. And we were in the parking lot behind the IT building at IUPUI, and I kissed her there. Actually, technically, you kissed me on the head. Yeah.
At the movie.
At the movie.
You'd put your arms around me and you gave me one of those pecks on the head.
And then I, for some reason, remember kissing you over by the Walker Theater too. Maybe that was like a second kiss, or maybe that was the first one. There was like a lot of kissing going on.
So we've kissed a lot since then, so they started blending together.
Everyone behind the camera right now is throwing it.
But it was a good kiss. I remember after he kissed me, I looked at him and said, I was wondering when you were going to do that.
Yeah, I did wait a while.
I wanted to kiss him on our first date.
Yeah, I wasn't very good at it. I haven't had a lot of practice.
You're good at it now, though. So. Okay. When did you know I was the one?
When I visited when I went over to your mom's house,
which was like our second date.
Yeah, it was like our second date.
First date, meeting the mother.
Her mom came to meet me. It was funny because I was like waiting outside of Kroger because that was like the meeting place. Yeah. And
well, you weren't familiar with this side of town.
Yeah,
so.
I was from the north side, and they're on the south side. And she had a Beamer convertible at the time, and her and Amber and her mom were inside, coming into Kroger, and I see her mom like, in the back seat.
That's my mom.
Going nuts for some guy she doesn't even know that's dating her daughter.
I think she was just excited because I had a boyfriend.
And his name is Chauncey, so he's probably a black guy. No, just kidding.
Or Jewish.
Yeah. So after that, I went over to your mom's house, and family is really important to me as far as having a decent family. You know, it's like I wasn't ever gonna, you know, take a lot of major steps with someone that, you know, had like an abusive family or like a totally absent family. So I noticed, you know, we went over to Rachel's house and her mom was nice, her dogs were nice. Lance,
the cat was nice.
Lance was nice. The cat was, yeah, cats. But it was a nice, you know, it was a family environment. It was good, and I was like, this is great. And I think that is right there when I kind of decided that, you know, all of the check marks had been filled, and she's the one.
I think for me, I don't know if this is the same night that we went and saw Indiana Jones or not, but we had gone downtown and you're showing me how to shoot HDR.
Oh yeah.
Photography. And then we went back to the IT building so we could go to your office so that you could show me how to do the processing for the pictures, and we were talking.
Run the algorithms.
Yes. And I said something about, because on our first date we talked, the subject of Disney had come up, of course. And we were talking about Disney, and then on that date we were still talking about Disney, and I said something about how if I was ever going to get married, it had to be a wedding at Walt Disney World, and you were like, I'm all for that. And I was like, sweet!
And we did. We got married at Disney World.
So, yeah, I think at that point I was like at that point he'd never been to Disney World, had no idea what it was like, but he's like, oh yeah, I'll get married at Disney. I'm like, yes!
It's the magical. It's the most magical place on earth.
Yeah.
I hadn't seen it yet, but.
Okay. When did we meet each other's families?
Well, I already told that.
Yeah. So say you met my family on the second date, and you met Amber on the first date. So I met your family. I met your parents for the first time after your guys' I believe it was after you guys' vacation, when you guys went to Outer Banks, because you guys came back like a day early.
Yep.
So and your parents came.
Eagle Creek Park.
Yeah, we went to Eagle Creek Park. Well, first, we met downtown at IPY. Remember?
Yep.
So that you could show my mom where you worked.
Right.
I think show your parents where you worked too.
Yeah. I had just gotten this full-time wonderful job I still am in now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I remember, seeing you walk up towards the IT building, I ran and jumped up and put my legs around you.
Oh yeah.
Your parents, this is your parents' first impression of this girl you're dating. She jumps up and gives you a big old bear hug. That was the first time I met your parents, and then 4th of July weekend, I went up to your parents for the first time. That's when I met your brother and
awesome.
Your grandparents and stuff, because we went on the boat with
Piggy and Maggie.
Yeah, I met the dogs and Kitty and Bama and Bappa and all that. So because everybody came over for 4th of July.
It was really cool because we went out on the pontoon boat, and that is literally the last time I ever went on that pontoon boat from my grandpa, because he's really old now, and he has he's gone through cancer and is receding now. But I mean, he is so old that he can't even get out of his chair now. But back then, this is 4 years ago. He was he had no problem. He took us out on the pontoon boat and
watched fireworks go off and stuff because it's 4th of July. That's awesome.
It was 4th of July, so all the houses were launching fireworks out over the river. So it was just like driving down this big long fireworks display.
Yeah.
It was cool.
So that was fun. I got to meet pretty much everybody in your group.
Yeah,
we went swimming at Tammy's across the street and stuff. So
it's a big old crazy bonanza of 4th of July fun.
Yeah. Do we have any traditions?
Yes.
Yes.
We go to Disney World every year in December.
For our anniversary.
That is a major tradition for the anniversary. And there's now we're starting to accumulate friends that work at Disney World. I mean, we don't have a lot.
Or other people on vacation there too.
Yeah,
that are crazy like we are and have to go.
Yeah. And we hang out with them. And what else? There's a lot actually, little ones too. Like we go to
we try to go to movies.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's really
There's family traditions. We go to restaurants at Christmas time that we wouldn't normally go to. They're like an hour and a half away or so.
Yeah.
I want to think of it. Is there any funny traditions that we do?
It depends on what your definition of tradition is. So.
Something we do every time we go to an area or at a certain time. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like we go to. Well, we don't go to Silver Lake as often as we'd like, but
We'd love
when
to
we
make
do,
that a tradition.
Yeah.
Silver Lake is It's in Michigan. If you are familiar with the Michigan glove, it's yeah, actually for you guys it would be like
that way.
That way.
Yeah.
It's like up here on Michigan, and what happened was like Lake Michigan actually carved out with sand dunes a tiny little lake out of Lake Michigan, like cut it off, so that became Silver Lake. And my grandpa went up there in like the '60s and staked his claim. Well, bought a piece of land like right next to the dunes, and that area nowadays is a hotbed for off-roading. The Department of Natural Resources manages an off-road park there for the sand dunes, so you can take out dune buggies, or even if you had just an SUV, you could go up there on the dunes. And we've gone up there a couple times. In fact, the first time I took Rachel up there, we shot potato guns. So that's us out there in the sunset shooting potato guns
into the lake.
Into Lake Michigan. So.
Let's see. What was our first road trip?
Well, the first one was to the aquarium.
Yeah.
Over in Cincinnati, Newport Aquarium, and we went with her mom, and that was fun because it was the first time I spent the night over at their house. And I remember waking up because I slept downstairs, like in their spare bedroom, and I woke up because Rachel was standing there like poking me, trying to.
You awake yet?
We weren't like really like that close yet when it comes to just like, you know, sleeping over at each other's houses or something like that.
Right.
And to wake me up, she's just like, it's like this monster. What do I do with this monster that's like sleeping in the guest room?
You ready to go yet? I want to go to the aquarium.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would have been our first road trip. And then you took me to your parents, which was like a 3.5 hour drive.
Yep.
And then we went to Silver Lake for the first time, which that would have been the first really long road trip.
Yep.
So, who said "I love you" first? Should know the answer to that.
Well, I said it on the golf course, or on the miniature golf course.
Yeah.
But like, you know,
for reals,
the full reels time was we were out in the cul-de-sac out in front of your mom's house.
Yeah.
And the neighbors were, of course, sitting in their lawn chairs out on their lawn, and we're standing there like two high school kids, even though
out by your truck, like,
yeah,
don't leave me.
Yeah, and it was just me going home for the night, and I was just like, I know for sure that I love you, and that was the first like for real time.
Yeah. Then I said it back, of course.
Yeah.
So. And then the next day I was in the car with my mom going to the gym, and we were on the phone.
Oh, yeah.
And you said it, and I said it back, and my mom was like, wait, when did this happen? I'm like, last night?
Forgot all about that.
Yeah. What do we argue about the most? This is an easy question. Nothing.
Yeah. We don't really argue.
We don't argue.
And it's not like we put out like a purposeful like principle of no arguing. It's just that naturally we just don't really have much to argue about.
We'll have like disagreements.
Yeah, but
like flat out arguing like what people would imagine an argument would be like. No, we've never done that. I don't think we ever will.
Yeah,
we're both too logical. We're like Vulcans.
Yeah,
there's no emotion whatsoever.
We're actually not huge Star Trek fans, but it's true. We are pretty much like a couple of, like a Mr. Spock and a Mrs. Spock.
Yeah.
You know, if you want to discuss something, a lot of times, we literally, even she's asked me, just, you know, cut emotion out of this.
Right.
And just sit down and talk about the logic of something.
Right.
Like how is this best be handled? And
yeah.
I mean, it literally takes us like a minute to figure out what the best, you know, plan of action would be. You know, I don't think that either of us have any kind of like, ego mound that we have to get over or anything like that.
Yeah. Who wears the pants in the relationship?
It changes, you know.
I think it depends on what it is. Like, he's really good about managing like the family finances.
Yeah.
And that kind of stuff.
Actually, I don't manage that. I made an Excel spreadsheet.
Well, yeah.
And it pretty much does it for us.
Right.
I mean, I look at that.
But you understand how that works better than I do.
Yeah.
So, and then I think other stuff like I'll handle like the domestic stuff. Well, not even domestic stuff, like decorating. Like I'll pick out like furniture, and I plan the vacations. When it comes to planning vacations, I wear the pants.
That is for sure. Because
I'm a big planner.
I love vacations, and I don't like planning them. You know, if I plan a vacation, it wouldn't be as elaborately planned as hers, and actually that we've benefited from that like so much because, you know, growing up with my parents, they were the same way. They just would say, let's go to X and just go there, you know, for a week.
Right.
And like, what is there to do there? Well, we grabbed some, you know, listing of a few things in the area, and then that was it. We just decided when we get there what we wanted to do, which can be fun if you want to relax. But if you're there to do something, like go to Disney and like, you know, eat at a specific restaurant or do specific events or see certain like opening events or something like that, Rachel can make an itinerary like down to the minute. That's not annoying or obnoxious.
Right.
She's not like pushing me to go somewhere. I'm just like following. You know, I'm just kind of like looking around at Disney World, like, ooh, cool stuff. Yeah.
I think I was a travel agent in a past life.
Yeah. If there was more money in travel agency stuff, I think that you'd probably do a good job doing it.
Okay, so this one's for both of us. If I was sitting in front of the TV, what would I be watching?
What would you be watching?
Yes.
That's really easy. Right now, if she's in front of the TV, it would be Big Bang Theory for sure. We've been going through the episodes for that. I mean, I've never heard her laugh at a TV show or a YouTube show as much as she does with Big Bang Theory.
Oh, I love
specifically
Big Bang.
Sheldon himself.
Oh my goodness, I love Sheldon. Let's see, if you were in front of the TV, you would probably be watching something that has to do with World War II.
Yes.
Some sort of documentary or something.
Lately, I've been really into World War II.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Again, this one's for both of us. What type of salad dressing do I get on my salad?
Ranch.
Yes.
Easy.
Easy. You change. It depends on what else
There is
you're
one
eating.
overriding salad dressing that I use. I can give you a clue. Grandpa Bob.
Italian.
Yeah. Our Grandpa Bob. Well, my Grandpa Bob. He is on my dad's side.
It's not Italian.
He doesn't pronounce Italian
Italian.
as Italian. He says Italians.
Italian. Yeah. What's one food I do not like? Which the list for me is way too long.
There's a lot of food she doesn't like. The big main one.
It's easy. It's onions.
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing. She does not like onions.
Or tomatoes.
Yeah, or tomatoes.
Or broccoli.
Or sushi.
Or peppers.
Or
fish.
Fish.
Or seafood, Jeff.
There's like a couple things that I'm just like, why would you not like that? Like mustard.
I don't like mustard.
Yeah.
I barely like ketchup. I like mayonnaise. Okay, we go out to drink. What do I get?
Fruit drinks.
Well, it depends on when we're talking adult beverages or not. So.
If it's adult beverage, it's usually whatever looks nice to her.
And whatever tastes like Kool-Aid.
She really likes, when we go to Granite City, she really likes the Fargo, I forget what's in that.
Oh, it's got like pineapple and other fun stuff in it. So I like, if it needs to taste like fruit punch for me to drink it if it's an alcoholic beverage.
Right.
If it's not an alcoholic.
If it's not alcoholic, then it's going to be like Pepsi or Coke.
Yeah.
Somewhere in there.
Yeah. You drink sweet tea.
Yep.
Pretty much all the time. So,
Yep.
an occasional cup of coffee, but mostly sweet tea. Or beer.
Coffee.
And the beer, the darker it is, the better.
Oh, yes. Just give me
disgusting.
Beer flavored motor oil. Guinness.
Yeah. Ugh. Disgusting. What size shoe do I wear?
What size?
Yes.
I asked your mom this like 2 years ago, and I had it written down because I knew I'd forget it. But for some reason, 6.5 comes to mind.
It depends on the shoe.
Is that close?
Yeah, you're close. Somewhere between 6.5 and 7.5, but it depends on the shoe. So, I do have some that are 6.5 that do fit. So, technically, you're right. You have monster feet. You're like 13 or like 12 wide, depending on the shoe.
Yep.
So, you have wide feet too.
Yeah.
So, you get like tennis shoes. They tend to be wide width. What do I like to collect?
What are you looking at?
Shoes.
Shoes, books.
Disney paraphernalia.
Yeah. Disney stuff, Disney pins.
Yeah.
She doesn't really get into pins as much as
you,
I do.
you are the pin collector. You collect other stuff too. You went through a coin collecting phase.
Yep. She collects these little vinylmation things back here from Disney. They're like little plastic prefab, different pictures on them to give them their themes.
Favorite sandwich?
For you?
Yes.
You don't really eat sandwiches, but if you had to eat eat a sandwich, I think your favorite would be either turkey and cheese or ham and cheese.
Or bacon.
Oh yeah.
Or anything with
that's
bacon
true.
on it.
A bacon sandwich.
Yes.
Yeah, a BLT but without the L and T. So a bacon sandwich.
Pretty much.
That's actually, yeah, so I got that one wrong.
Yeah. You eat stuff that I wouldn't touch with a 10-foot pole, like a muffalata or like a French dip or something.
Those are so good.
Yeah.
If you go to McAllister's and you get the muffalata, if you like olives, oh man.
Olives. Ugh. So, what would I eat every day?
Every day?
Yes. What is something that if I could, I would eat it every day?
Rachel is purely variety oriented though. She will not eat, if she has bacon one part of the day, it doesn't matter how much she likes bacon, she won't have it another part of the day.
Maybe.
Chicken.
I do love bacon.
So if you could eat the same thing every day, it would have to be bacon. Yeah. I don't know anything else that you actually really, really like to the point where you'd have it 2 times a day.
Yeah.
So I mean, I'll feed her.
Bacon is close though.
I'll feed her like something like really good for lunch, or maybe dinner one night, and there's leftovers, and I try to the next day like for lunch to try to have her eat that, and she'd just be like, no, because I had that last night for dinner.
Yeah.
So.
Although pierogies maybe the
pierogies.
Second. But not just any pierogies, Mrs. T's.
Mrs. T's pierogies with cheese and
4 cheese blend.
Mashed potatoes inside.
Yeah, so good. You'd eat chips. You do eat chips every day.
I love chips.
Doesn't matter what kind. You just love chips.
Healthy chips, unhealthy chips.
Flavored,
Flavored
unflavored,
chips,
rippled.
Rippled. I love chips.
Dips with salsa.
I am a sucker for texture. Any kind of food you give me that's like got some fancy texture to it, like crunchy and soft, different heats, different temperatures within it. Man.
Now you want some chips.
Yep.
What could I spend every day doing?
Buying shoes. Every day, no, she could live within the Magic Kingdom in some sort of corner, like behind a bush somewhere, and get up every day and walk around, and she would love it.
Go to Disney World. I'd do that every day.
It would never get old for her.
Nope, it would not. I love Disney. No. You play video games every day. You do play video games every day.
That's true right now. From 2000,
especially right now.
2003 when I graduated from high school. From then until about 2012, I guess and so until now, last May, my life has been revolving around school and major projects. So building credentials with these major projects, and then getting degrees within school. So I let all these movies that were coming out just come out and go, and all these games that were coming out come out and go. So right now I'm out of school, master's degrees, both of us, and trying to get back, see all the stuff I didn't see before. So I guess I'm not a video game junkie like a lot of people, but right now I'm kind of coming off that way.
Yeah. Favorite cereal?
For you, it's pretty unclear because you eat a lot of kids' cereal.
Yeah.
So.
Anything that's catered towards kids.
Yep.
Fruity Pebbles, Fruit Loops, Trix.
What about me?
You, Apple Jacks or Captain Crunch?
Yep.
Favorite music?
For you, it's the Beatles, and
for you, it's
Show
Metallica.
What are the Metallicas?
Metallica and what's his face? James Hartford.
John Hartford.
John Hartford. Sorry, I got James Hetfield stuck in my head.
So how about that? Who of you listening or watching, which I highly doubt this, is a fan of heavy metal and bluegrass
At the same time.
at the same time?
Not me. I'll stick with the Beatles. Thank you very much. Favorite sports team?
The Colts.
Yeah. Colts and NASCAR.
In NASCAR, Tony Stewart, Jeff Gordon,
You buddy.
Jimmy Johnson.
No, not Jimmy Johnson. Jimmy Johnson sucks.
And
You're not really into sports.
Nope.
So you like NASCAR though. You like Carl Edwards.
Yep.
Carl Edwards and Matt Kenseth. Kind of.
I'm not really into Kenseth anymore. Carl Edwards is awesome though.
Carl's your guy.
Yeah.
So. Best friend besides you.
Your best friend is Amber and Jeanette.
Yep.
So 2 people.
They're my besties. And you, it's Matt.
Yep.
And Tim.
Yep.
And Taylor. But Taylor's your brother, so he doesn't count.
That's right.
Sorry, Taylor. What is something I do that you do not like?
I don't like the fact that you can't.
I turn down stuff.
That like I offer, please let me teach you how to play this video game that I really love playing, and she's just like, no.
I get that from my dad. I'm like, nope. Nope, not gonna do it. Somebody's like, you want $1 million? Nope. Well, maybe not that, but you want to go swim the English Channel? Nope.
That's it. Not really a big deal.
Yeah.
What about me?
You either turn the volume down on your phone,
Yeah.
or you leave it in your car.
Yep.
So that if I try to get a hold of you, you have no idea.
Yeah.
Which has gotten you in trouble before.
Yeah. She's yelled at me before because my phone.
That's the closest we've ever had to an argument, I think.
Yeah.
There one time where, like, we were both headed home from the same place, and I beat him there. And then I waited so that we could walk into the building together, and he didn't show up.
I stopped at the grocery store.
I called your phone, like, multiple times and didn't answer, so I'm like, I called your mom. Like, have you heard from Chauncey? He seems to have disappeared off the face of the planet.
I just went to the Kroger to get, like, milk.
But I didn't know. I thought he was right behind me.
Right.
And we were both going to be home, like, within minutes of each other. And then, like, he finally came home, and I threatened to kick his ass.
Yep.
So, that was just one time.
She kicked my ass.
No.
Look how much bigger I am to her. She kicked my ass.
And then you broke my toe.
I did not.
I know.
I was massaging her feet, and then, well, you guys probably heard the story in
Oh,
previous
yes.
videos.
Yeah.
And her toe snapped off.
But then it grew back, because I'm like a lizard.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding. But that was the last question.
The last one?
Yep.
Alright.
That was it. See, that wasn't that bad.
No, not at all. Thanks for watching, you guys.
Yeah.
I'm glad to be on your show.
My show.
The Rachel Show. Da 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 da. The Rachel Show.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cooties.
Bye bye.
Oh.